Hey, Keryn, welcome to the first of our Take 5. Take 5 on the working world. You, of course, are first cab off the rank, which we love. Now, I just wanted to get straight into it. What are some approaches mobility practitioners can take to make their mobility programs more environmentally sustainable?
Yeah, great question, Jamie. And super passionate about this particular subject. And I think it's something that is going to be coming down the pipeline for all of us as mobility practitioners in the next 6 to 12 months. I guess, logically first, you need to understand your organisational goals around environment and sustainability and work with your mobility team, or if you're a soloist like me in the region, align your local pillars with your organisational pillars around the environmental, sustainable and governance pillars. Secondly, I think exploring with your internal functions such as procurement, exploring what ESG commitments you've already had embedded with your current vendors that support your mobility program, and having a really good look at those agreements that are in place already. You can also look to those partners to understand what ESG measures they have in place independently already. One, to either learn from those or also leverage those, but whether they would also be open to adopting some of those measures as part of your already agreed procurement activity that you have ongoing with them and the service delivery that's going on within your current contract. I think then externally facing, you want to review and have a look at your vendor partners and take the opportunity to build some of those. If you haven't already, look at those environmental sustainable requirements for the service delivery. So these could include current initiatives that perhaps are non-negotiables for your vendor selection. So you have those as standard parts of your RFP. You can then also look at some aspirational goals within that service delivery, so kind of second tier goals. And then lastly, the commitments that the vendor, have a look at the commitments the vendor would do to work with your organisation to develop and install a set of a number of ESG initiatives during the lifespan of your contract, which could be 2 to 3 years. They could be rolled out at various points in that contract. And then I think finally, the internal facing aspect of it is looking at your internal policies, reviewing those through the lens of ESG, so environmental, sustainable and governance, and looking at the program benefits that you currently deliver, obviously taking into consideration, your talent attraction and retention programs and methods that you use, and aligning those with those, but to assess really if there's an opportunity to either tweak or maybe revamp and overhaul altogether your offerings to a more sustainable selection or menu for your employees. And by this, I mean, it could be as simple as perhaps tweaking, some of your program or policy deliverables around, it could be something as simple as swapping removals shipping perhaps for an allowance to purchase furniture instead in the new location, or it could be something as simple as perhaps revamping your intranet page with giving each of your provisions almost like a sustainable rating. So it's a visual method for employees to see and make selections on the program selections that they want to use based on their environmental sustainable appetites. And I think ultimately, at the end of the day, it's about taking a step back, looking at your program again through that lens of ESG, and finding ways where you can reduce your carbon footprint, no matter how small the change is, and really with the view to, of course, optimize that employee experience end to end, and also with a tie into retaining talent who have a view of working for organisations that prioritise ESG, environmental and sustainable programs.
I love it. I think, you're not only doing internal change, but you're driving change through vendors, through your vendor selection. And I suppose just on a side, Tanya Maritini, who who talked about exactly this subject.
Exactly.
The whole Working World, the Working World episode on that. I think, it feels like it's gaining momentum. Good on you for being a champion of it. I don't know how progressed it is in Australia, but I'm sure you are at the forefront.
Absolutely, yes. And if you want to understand this subject in more detail, take a look at Tanya's episode. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
Well done.
Thank you,
Cool.
Jamie.
Thanks, Keryn. Thanks for the Take 5, and enjoy your week. Bye.
Bye.